Hey there. So last weekend I was in Denver for Indo Expo, and I was moderating a panel of soil science PhDs. And during Q&A, I asked them, so hey, what are your thoughts on 24-hour light cycle during veg of cannabis? Because, there's a lot of people who argue a lot of different ways online about whether or not you have to give cannabis plants some dark time so that they can have a natural sleep cycle, or whether or not you can run your plants at 24 hours of light and get finished with your veg cycle 20% faster, right? Over the course of the year, you can actually put in another cycle in your garden. So there's a big advantage to that if it is possible. So anyway, I was curious what they would have to say. So I asked the question, and Dr. Karuna Chourey, who's in R&D at Mammoth Microbes, said something that was surprising to me. Normally everybody talks about the health of the plant itself, about whether or not it can do 24 hours a day of photosynthesis and be healthy. But she approached it totally different. She's like, yeah, the plant grows up faster and bulkier, but what you're doing is you are starving the rhizosphere. You're starving all the microbes in the soil, which makes the plant super susceptible for all these different kinds of diseases. That's a whole different approach. So after the panel, I asked her to step aside with me and get on camera and answer the question so that I could bring it home to you so that you could check it out. So this is Dr. Chourey's answer. If you are into 24-hour lights, or if you just like thinking about photosynthesis, I hope you totally dig this. Hey everybody, so I am here at Indo Expo Denver today, and I just heard a fantastic presentation on microbes and the rhizosphere. And my guest today caught me off guard by saying something that kind of blew my mind about the 24-hour light cycle. As you may know, there's a lot of fervent debate online about whether or not you can grow cannabis plants in the vegetative state for 24 hours a day, lit the entire time, so having no dark period. And there's a lot of debate back and forth, but often there is not a lot of evidence. And then I meet Karuna today, and she has got some very interesting things today about metabolites. So Karuna, thank you so much for joining me for a moment. Hearing you speak today caught me totally off guard, and I was excited to hear, essentially for me, new information in this debate people are having about the 24-hour light cycle. So please, if you would, teach us all your thoughts on whether or not using light on for 24 hours is helping or inhibiting growing cannabis plants.
So thanks for having me on this and asking this very important question. Well, plants are like humans or any other living beings. We have our diurnal cycle, right? We have our day phase and our night phase, if I may say. They also behave differently in day and night. In the daytime, they have the sunlight, where they are going to use everything to, synthesize sugars, food, so to say. And the plant is growing. At the same time, the plant is also putting down sugars through its roots to the microbes in the soil, right? So it's also communicating with the microbes. At night time, all these activities will shut down. And that kind of metabolites, so when I say sugars, there are different metabolites that are released by the plant roots. And they actually feed the microbes that they love. So the friendly microbes are the microbes that will help the plant grow. They are the ones that are dependent on this plant food. Now, if you keep the plant in only one cycle, then you are depriving the microbial population of one category of food. So while the plants are growing tall, they're growing in biomass, it's not exactly healthy for the entire plant and its rhizosphere. That is one reason that you give it a break. So let the plant flip the cycle and make the different set of metabolites, or not constantly keep feeding the same metabolite to its rhizosphere microbes, where the microbes might be like really overwhelmed with all these metabolites being thrown at it at 24 hours. So even the microbes in the rhizosphere follow this kind of diurnal cycle. They are not used to seeing these metabolites
Constantly.
And that is one reason I think that you definitely have to give the plants a break. Let it rest.
So to make sure that I understand you correctly, when the lights are on, the plant is producing its sugars and photosynthesis and
Exactly.
everything that it normally does for itself.
Correct.
But when the light goes off, it pushes all the sugars out to the rhizosphere and your beneficial microbes.
Yes.
And so if we're running our lights for 24 hours, we are potentially starving our beneficial microbes that are in the substrate.
Correct.
And so in addition to so the first thing that would be bad for the cannabis plant would be we're starving the beneficial microbes, which then makes the plant itself less robust because it's got less microbes in the rhizosphere.
Exactly.
What else? Is there anything else that might happen to the plant itself by not getting a break? Like when we don't get a rest, we get a little delirious, right?
Right. So the plant is always in the mode that it has to grow, right? Nighttime gives it a time to kind of rest, relax a little bit. But now when you're just keeping it on a 24 cycle, the only thing it hears is keep growing, keep going, doing a photosynthesis, keep growing big. And so in a way this is not natural. So I think the plants are going to be stressed in that format. So give your plants a break. Don't keep them on a 24-hour cycle.
So technically that stress could express itself in a lot of ways. Maybe decreased cannabinoids or
That is possible.
less resistance
Absolutely.
to mold or pests or however it chooses
that
to
is
express
quite
itself.
possible.
Mhm.
And I think the people who do grow the 24-hour light cycle might be doing it very much indoor grows where they have almost like sterile environment. They can keep it closed, and that's when they think that giving it 24-hour light cycle is giving them bigger plants, which they think are better plants.
Yeah.
But that plant is just kind of say propped up,
Mhm.
and the moment if things go a little bit south, they won't be able to handle it.
Right. They're susceptible to a wide range of things.
Exactly. That is not a normal way.
So if the 24-hour light cycle is setting up the plant for potential failure, right?
Yes.
The reason people do it is because you can reach the end of the bloom cycle about 20% faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for people who are trying to do a certain number of cycles a year for
Yes,
profit,
yes,
right?
yes.
They're saying we're just going to push the plant to its extreme
Right.
so that we can save that 20% of time.
Exactly.
How would you weigh that yourself as the advantages to saving 20% versus the susceptibility of the plant to pathogens?
So let me put it this way. You can save on the time and you can get more buds or more flowering cycles. But what is the quality of your buds? Are you sacrificing your terpene profile? Are you sacrificing your cannabinoid profile just to gain that 20% extra time? Is it worth it? So you have to keep that in mind. Also, to maintain this 24-hour light cycle, like I said, you have to have practically a sterile room. Everything has to be so dialed in that you cannot change little bit. Otherwise your plant is going to just die or not perform as good. So you are creating so many restrictive scenarios for growth, whereas under a normal cycle your plant is healthy enough that it can withstand a little bit of fluctuation. That is what you want. And you can keep your cannabinoid profile steady, you can keep your terpene profile steady. I have heard very little about how the bud quality is if you are bringing it down to this very short cycle. I have not yet seen that data coming. Like I said, data is the first thing I will look for. If people are coming and telling me, oh, this is how it works, show me.
Right.
Show me the evidence, and so far I've not seen anything.
So as far as the data, because in your presentation you were very clear that data is everything,
Correct.
would you share with us some of the research that has been done on this, and we can put it in the links below so that people can check it out at home?
Sure.
Yeah.
If I find something on cannabis, definitely. If not, definitely on other plants. I'll just find out all those links on what effect does 24-hour photo period have on plants.
Right on.
Definitely, I can do that.
Thank you so much, Karuna Chourey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.